In this Battletech vlog, we're going to revisit the Cyclops. Now, right away from a tactical point of view, you've got an assault mech. The Cyclops is an assault mech, and it's going to command a certain amount of attention and respect on the hex map. But the question is, for the battle value, for the commitment, you're taking that currency, that battle value, those C-bills, and putting it into one machine, one mech. So tactically, how does it stack up, and what are some of the opportunities, I should say, in using it? And I define opportunities in Battletech as looking at an individual piece, an individual mech, and being honest. These are the advantages, these are the disadvantages. Based on the armor, configuration, this is what it is. Variance. How can we leverage our advantages for that machine and the disadvantages, either individually or as part of a lance, minimize them? We're trying to multiply that force, and then from that perspective on the table, see what happens, see what our opponent gives us, put ourselves in that position. And that framework, of course, works for any of the mechs out there, but it's especially important for assault mechs. Again, you're pumping a lot of C-bills into that. Now, narrative-wise, Cyclops, the miniature looks fantastic. Narrative-wise, in terms of inner sphere, you've got that battle computer, assuming it hasn't been scrapped. The Cyclops is kind of the ultimate command mech, the ultimate command machine, where it's tied in perhaps to a mobile HQ, and it's directing the forces on the battlefield. So in that regard, it makes sense to mount something so important and special within the lore and the narrative onto an assault mech, where you've got the armor, where you've got the firepower. But outside of the narrative, that doesn't really translate onto the tabletop unless we're utilizing quirks. And of course, there is the very real possibility that as individual Cyclops, individual Cyclopi have been built and rebuilt over the years, that battle computer has been removed and it's just another assault mech. So within that framework, looking at the tactics, we've got an Autocannon 20, which right away means we're going to try and get as close as possible. The location is also important, being mounted in the torso area, so we can utilize close combat attacks also as an assault mech, which we absolutely want to be punching and kicking, leveraging that tonnage so we can still blast and get that 2-for-1. If I'm going to get point blank base to base for the autocannon, I'm still going to be punching and kicking. We've got a long-range missile 10-pack. We've got 2 medium lasers and an SRM-4. Now, if that sounds a little bit light for an assault class mech, you would be correct on that. The Cyclops, once we move past the Autocannon 20, the LRM-10 should absolutely be a 20-pack. Do I say minimum 15? It should be a 20-pack. One 20-pack and one Autocannon 20 would balance really nice. What this means is it's not the focus of the machine. It's not like a longbow where we're piling everything into those long-range missile packs, so we're seeing that full spread. A Cyclops or an assault mech with a 20-pack LRM and an Autocannon 20, while it doesn't have the redundancy, you've got King Crab with the dual Autocannon 20s, but this way we have a long-range 20-pack that we can fire at long range. And then when we get to short range, extreme short range, we've got the Autocannon 20. You've got some nice bookends on there, utilizing the armor. Having the AC-20 good, LRM-10 seems really light. Then we've got 2 medium lasers. I mean, the medium laser is kind of the workhorse of the inner sphere, but that seems kind of light. And then we've got a short-range missile 4-pack. That should be a 6-pack. If we drop the Autocannon 20, and I am acknowledging the Autocannon 20 is significant with the damage it brings, the ammo, and being able to support the weight of it on an assault class machine and still have the armor to stay close. But if I drop that Autocannon 20, if I said, look, I've got a mech for you. It's an LRM-10, 2 medium lasers, and a short-range missile. You'd be like, that's a medium mech. Is that like some modified Wolverine? If that was a heavy mech, you'd be like, that's a little light. I mean, look at a T-bolt compared to that loadout, or just look at a T-bolt compared to the Cyclops loadout. As soon as we jump to a assault machine, that's really light. So within that framework, we have to acknowledge while the Cyclops does have an answer at every range band, long range, LRM-10. Close in on you as soon as I'm in range. I'm blasting with the medium lasers and still the LRM-10. As we get closer, I'm switching to the medium lasers and the SRM-4. As we get to point blank, Autocannon 20, SRM-4, and medium lasers, it's light. It's light. But it's still an assault mech. It's still an assault mech. So how are we going to utilize this? I want to try to utilize this machine by bullying on weaker mechs. I really don't want to go toe-to-toe with another assault class mech. Do I want to go toe-to-toe with an Atlas? Do I want to go toe-to-toe with an Awesome? Do I want to go toe-to-toe with a Banshee? Maybe with the Banshee, but the Banshee's going to get close and be punching me also. I really don't want to go up against assault mechs. I want to try and bully some medium or lighter heavy type mechs, but even dedicated heavy mechs like a Thunderbolt, it's going to give the Cyclops a bit of a challenge. I want to go up against mediums. I want to drive away lights. So from that perspective, I see the Cyclops as a machine that wants to hold the line somewhere, where as I'm advancing and I'm going to engage my opponent, Cyclops might drop back and be in between two hills. The Cyclops might be protecting a flank, securing a flank, somewhere on the table where, yes, absolutely my opponent's going to try and break through, but they're going to try and break through with some heavier light mechs. They're going to try and break through with some medium mechs, somewhere where one machine can hold off or cripple, or at least trade blows for a while, take that damage, barring any critical hits or crazy headshots or crazy internal stuff, and take some damage, but cripple or drive off my opponent. So I see the Cyclops as that assault machine securing the flanks, holding that area, being held in reserve so as mediums or other mechs with a little bit of speed and a little bit of firepower break through to now try and get rear armor on me, I can plug that with the Cyclops. I don't necessarily want the Cyclops to go toe-to-toe with comparable assault mechs, but it is an assault mech. It's got the armor. It does have a good number of weapons, but I think that's not the optimal way to use it, which brings to the question, why would you ever take a Cyclops? Well, if we're doing the min-max and we're breaking thing every down to the Tactica and the tech manuals, yes, I absolutely probably would not take a Cyclops. I have two in my collection because it's a cool-looking machine, and there are times where if you're playing the narrative or part of a campaign or a specific mission or you're trying to do something, maybe you want to have access to that machine in your collection.